Hey everyone, as you're coming in, can you do me a favor and just give me a quick heads up on audio and visual? Can you hear my voice? Can you see the screen? Just let me know that we're broadcasting and everything's coming in clear before we get started. Well, hey traders, investors, crypto enthusiasts, welcome to today's event. My name is Jim Simmons with Crypto Street Academy, and in this session, we're going to be looking at how to create multiple streams of income in just a couple weeks. And really, there's no experience required whatsoever. It's actually pretty quick to get up and running. And the good news is the team has done a lot of the heavy lifting and a lot of the hard work for you. So at this point, it's just a matter of replicating what we're already doing. And so we're going to take a look at what that is and how you can get involved. So let's go ahead and dive in. Before we get started here, we do need to look at a quick disclaimer. Of course, we have no interest in the outcome of your investments or trades. There is risk involved with investing in crypto, so please understand the risks. What we provide is services and products for educational purposes, and current results, past results do not indicate future guarantees. Okay. Now that we've covered that, we're all good. So who is this for? Well, this particular event is for investors or traders looking for better returns, anyone looking to compound wealth, those who are sick of losing in the markets or in general, someone starting out with zero experience, little to none. Struggling traders. If you're a trader and you're struggling to find a way to make things work, this could be a great opportunity. Even if you are a successful trader, I think you will absolutely love what we're going to show you. Anyone who wants to create financial independence and those who want more time freedom and the power of choice. I think, realistically, a lot of these are probably all of us, realistically. But going back to the trading side of things, I see some familiar names in here. So I know there's some traders that have decided to join in and see what this is all about. So thanks for joining in. But those of you who are struggling as traders, I can tell you this is a great opportunity where it'll really alleviate a lot of that pressure of trading to try and generate gains and returns. It did for me, and I know it will definitely help there as well. And even if you're a successful trader, all the more better, because now you can scale multiple streams of income. And this is truly autopilot, where you don't really have to do anything. Once you've got it set, it's really just autopilot. And that's what we love about these opportunities. But who this is not for? Well, if you have a negative attitude or outlook, if you're looking to get rich quick, if you don't have any money, I'm sorry, this won't work. You do have to have money to invest. If you're small-minded or not willing to let go of the past, or if you're unwilling to put in the time to learn, or maybe you're completely closed off to anything that is new and out of the ordinary. And I think this is not for you. This is for those who are looking for a fresh outlook and fresh opportunities that are willing to do something a little bit different. And no hard feelings if that's not you. That's totally fine. I totally respect that. And I respect that you know what you want to do and what you don't. And so all good there. But this is going to be out of the box. This is not traditional finance. This is different. And you'll see by the returns that we're presenting here that the returns are anything but traditional as well. And that comes with an element of risk, and we're going to discuss that here as well. Okay. First off, who am I? Well, I'm Jim Simmons, and I'm in the sales and education side of the business here for Crypto Street, Neuro Street, and ARC. Been trading the markets for over 14 years. Really, in my experience, I've had a chance to work with a lot of traders and investors and helping traders find financial success. And I can tell you that it doesn't take nearly as long as you think. It's not quite as complicated as you might think, though it's not the simplest thing in the world. But the good news is we've got everything figured out for you. So All you need to do is follow the steps, and we have an entire team here to support you and help you every step of the way. So while it might be new and it might not be the simplest thing you've ever done, it'll certainly be worth it, and it's certainly possible for anybody. Okay, so it's not hard. It's just it just takes some learning, right? But I think we can all agree that it's worth putting in a week's worth of learning to get to the other side of this. I mean, we'll take a look at that. But the question that we get to is really, we like to kind of get a vision of what things would look like if, assuming we're right and this all works as we are promoting it will. If you had multiple streams of income and cash flow on autopilot, that would give you the freedom to live life on your terms. And I think all of us envision this to some degree. We see opportunities and we go, wow, this will really help me scale my income. It'll help me create secondary income. It'll help me build wealth. There's all sorts of different opportunities that we've looked at that have appealed to us for just this reason, to have multiple streams of income and to be as on autopilot as possible and to live life without fear and to live in true financial freedom. And this is what everybody wants. We're going to look at the exact strategy that our investors are using to scale wealth, quit their jobs, and retire decades sooner. And there'll be some pretty interesting stories to go with it. And so in the next probably 45 to 60 minutes, we're going to look at how DeFi is changing the world of finance. And we'll talk about what that is. We're going to look at how to ditch the bankers and the middleman and scale capital and to get out of the traditional finance limitations, how to create passive income cash flow so that you can make 10 to 22% monthly, 3 to 5% weekly, and even 1% daily. And yes, those are real numbers. We're going to look at what your financial freedom number is. And we'll look at what that is and a step-by-step example that's going to prove that DeFi is a better use of capital when compared to real estate, where you could be 3 to 6, 9, 12 months from now with the power of compounding interest. And the beauty of it is some of these compound weekly or monthly or even daily in some cases. So really, really incredible to see the compounds. Most importantly, how we've done all the hard work for you. Our team has laid the foundation, and all you need to do is follow in their footsteps. Finding good DeFi investments, we vet them for our community, and we find the investments, and we use our own capital first, and then we teach our community. So it's really done in a way that it's not just some influencer online on social media promoting that they've done reviews on all these different opportunities. And you'll see a lot of them. The funny thing is they seem to put down every opportunity out there, but lo and behold, there's the one investment that just is the greatest thing in the world. And oh my gosh, you should do it. And obviously you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out what's going on there. They want you to join their investment because they get referral bonuses for referring people in. And so this isn't just, hey, we've done a bunch of reviews and here's the good ones and the bad ones. We actually get into these investments first with our own money. And we're going to demonstrate that with real money portfolios and real return numbers. Okay, so the way that we approach this is we're all in this together. We're all going through it arm in arm, and we're going to conquer this together. This isn't anybody just saying, well, you go ahead and here's the info you need and try it out and see how it goes. That's not how it works here. So different approach, which is very refreshing. We like to give a lot of examples. So here's an example of Tim. Tim's just an ordinary guy and no trading experience and made $13,000 in passive income off of current balance of $33,000. So put 20 in roughly, and do the math. Made 13 in about 5 months. Pretty solid. No investing, acumen, no, not a trader, just a normal guy. Put some money in and made a whole bunch. So good stuff. And we'll look at plenty of examples of participants and so on. But if you stick around to the end, we're giving away a free financial calculator. So if you stay to the end, we're going to be giving that away. So that is our gift to you, to where you can look at the numbers and see what they really look like in your situation. Now, everybody's situation is different. And so we're going to look at one example together. Oops. And we'll look at that together and get a better idea of what those numbers look like and give you some different examples. Okay. So good deal. But looking at, current situation, if we look at the current situation, I'm curious if any of you fall into sort of one of these categories here. Maybe you're sick of watching your portfolio lose money, the market's going sideways or down or anything but up, inflation's through the roof and so on. Maybe you hate seeing others raking in profits, but meanwhile, you're still struggling. Maybe you have no experience or you're afraid and you don't know where to start. And frankly, if you're getting into crypto, you should be, because there's a lot of opportunity to lose money in this business. And I say that with ultimate transparency because it comes down to that's why we don't do this alone. That's why we have our community, so that we can do it together. Maybe you have experience, but you've been burned in the past. Anyone here relate to that? Anybody lost money in crypto? I know there's usually a handful in every crowd. It's the unfortunate reality of this industry. And so my heart goes out to you if you've lost in the past. It's certainly not a pleasant experience. Maybe you feel trapped. Maybe you're kind of living check to check and you can't seem to get anywhere, and you just wish things were a little bit different, and maybe you got just a little bit of money that you could put into something that could grow. Then you could be in a much better position. So the important thing is we know what it's like. We've been where you are. A lot of our people have lost money to crypto or to these type of opportunities. And so again, it comes down to having a community that can back you up, and more importantly, an alpha team. But if you can relate to any of these things, the reality is that that's not really the problem. A lot of this is symptomatic, where we've only been exposed to the traditional investment opportunities, the real estate, stocks, bonds, mutual funds. There's nothing wrong with those things. They're great investments, and so is real estate. And we're going to look at that together. But there's other opportunities out there. And up until this point, they've traditionally just been held for the elite, to where just the elite get to see these great experience and opportunities, and everybody else just gets left in the dust. And so we're out there, working hard and trying to get ahead and just not seeming to get anywhere. Well, now with the power of DeFi, this opens up opportunity for everyday people. It doesn't matter if you have $1,000 or $100,000. There's opportunity for everybody, which is great because it opens the door for those who don't have 10 million to put into a project, right? So we're going to show you the new models, the power of DeFi, and how you can use compounding interest to make a whole lot and generate passive income. The method of investing in this type of scenario is designed to really expedite your return on investment so that you can put your capital to work in more strategic vehicles. So here's an example. We talk about leading by example. We talk about real results in passive income. This is a screenshot of Sean's portfolio. And so Sean's the founder, CEO of Crypto Street, and he's got a long experience in development of trading tools and also in day trading, and he understands the challenges. And so Sean got into the crypto world to provide an opportunity to develop passive income, to where he didn't really have to trade, because the reality is, if you're trying to run a business, or three for that matter, you don't have a whole lot of time to trade. And so this provided a great opportunity. And also this is all based on, this starting was based on the fact that people are losing money in crypto. And there's really a need for someone to step in and provide some guidance in this space, and to provide the opportunity to do what he's doing. And so here's an example. So current balance 184, original investment 144. So that on its own is a good return, considering these investments were opened less than a year ago. Not bad, right? Well, then you take into consideration that he's already pulled $86,000 out. And so in that case, he's pulled almost his initial investment out of these accounts. and yet still has a current balance of 184. And when you take that into consideration, it's pretty eye-opening. You can see monthly ROI 24%, weekly ROI 5. The dollars and cents of it, if you break it down, 8,000 a week. I think this is updated actually. I don't know how this old one got back in here, but this has been updated more recently. But it's just incredible to see, see what those numbers really look like, and the fact that you can generate that much, even if that was just based on today, which this one's a little bit outdated, honestly. Even if that was based on today with initial balances starting, early last year, that's still pretty solid. So good stuff. And this just goes to show you that, it's not chump change. When you're following someone, we talked about, this isn't just somebody saying, here's this investment and this one, and I give this one an A and I give this one a B minus, and this one's a C. What does that mean? And frankly, none of that matters until you've got your own money on the line. Because the reality is, just because somebody says it's an A risk or B risk, that don't mean anything. What matters is, does it make sense to you? Can you do it? And will it make you money or not? Right? So that's what it really comes down to. But the point is, if you're going to follow somebody in this space, if you're going to join a community, if you're going to get involved, first of all, don't get into crypto by yourself. You'll get run over in most cases. And so you really got to do it with some experts. You've got to do it with a team. You've got to get involved and be a part of something. But if you're going to follow anybody, follow somebody who's got some real money in the game, who's not just saying, here's my grade on this investment. This is somebody who's actually involved in these investments and has a vested interest in them continuing to do well. And if there's some kind of concern, then that needs to be addressed. And that's something that the team can do. And so if our money's in it, great. Then it's a good opportunity. And if not, well, then it's not something we should probably get involved in, right? Here's an example of one of his DeFi projects showing you have the opportunity to also earn commissions on this particular project. Not everybody's going to do that, and that's totally fine. But if you refer friends, family, so on, you get some referral bonuses off of that too. And so total ROI 20, total commission 20, total earned 40, with a trading balance of 40. And you think, well, that's the same number. Well, how does that work? Well, that's because he took his initial investment out. And so now playing on house money. And that's something that we promote around here, is that once you get to 2x, 3x in the accounts, you pull the initial investment out so that you don't have that continued risk on the table, or at least you've reduced some of the risk, right? But let's take a look. Let's look at real estate. It's something that everybody, I think, kind of understands, at least to some degree, some more than others. A lot of us are involved in real estate, and it's a great opportunity. So let's look at real estate. We're going to take an example of a $250,000 condo purchase. Okay, so it's middle of the road, nothing too extravagant. Down payment, if you're buying an investment property, typically you need at least 20% down. So that's going to put us at $50,000. Now, let's say the home needs some updates, maybe needs some fresh paint, update some of the fixtures, maybe clean things up a little bit. Maybe you need a new fridge or something. Well, let's assume you need to do a little bit of work on the property. And so you put about $10,000 into it. Again, it's modest, nothing, you're not redoing the entire kitchen or anything, but something to get it cleaned up. And so that puts you at a total upfront investment about $60,000. So about $60,000 down to get into the property, and that's going to yield a monthly rent. You kind of average based on that. These numbers would put us at about $2,200 in monthly rent. That's kind of the going rate, give or take, right? Some markets are more heavy than others in terms of rent. And then we have things like vacancy, taxes, insurance, homeowners association, some of the costs associated with running an investment property, right? So you got about $1,000 a month in some of these expenses between insurance, homeowners, taxes, and all that. So that's going to put you at a total monthly revenue of about $1,200. That's not bad. $1,200 a month's not bad at all. Considering you put about $60,000 in, you're getting $1,200 back. Great. Well, we do still have the mortgage that we have to pay, though. The mortgage was about $200,000 after the down payment at 6%, which of course is a little bit low right now. Rates have been going up. But nonetheless, about 6%, that puts us at about $1,199 mortgage. And so it's really a net wash. There's no net cash flow there. which is fine. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. Tenants are paying the mortgage. You're building equity in the property. Values are coming up. Life is good. Okay. So all is not lost. So you're making some money on the form of the yield of the property value. So let's flip the script here. We're going to use a comparison and say, what if the real estate investor decided to get into crypto? What could you look to achieve there? Well, the initial investment is, again, about 60,000, with an average yield weekly of about 3%, which is kind of middle of the road based on the projects that we're involved in, actually. So 3% a week for 60,000 is 1,800 a week. Now, if you recall, we were getting 1,200 net before the mortgage. We're getting 2,200 in net rent on the property, and that's monthly. And so to consider that you can get $1,800 a week in return, that's before compounding. That's just assuming you just take the check and take it home. So some pretty good opportunity. The cost there, though, there is none. So what you see is what you get. Now, let's assume if you were to just compound, you say, well, yeah, the home is compounding in value. So there's that kind of component there. So what if you were just to compound? At the end of the first year, that 60,000 would be roughly 279,000 for an annual percent yield of 365%. Now, playing devil's advocate here for a second, is the value of the home that you bought at 250 going to be worth 500 and whatever that is, $530,000? I mean, maybe you get into a hot market and it just so happens to go up in value, but maybe not likely, right? And so we look at this as just an incredible opportunity that if you compound the yield, you can really accelerate things quite a bit. And there's the calculator if you want to see the calculator. Based on 60,000, the assumption is 3% per week average, which one of the projects that we're involved in does that. And so it becomes a no-brainer. It's really easy to see that if the real estate investor were to choose to put the money into DeFi, more strategic vehicles, you could accomplish your goals much faster. And notice we're not comparing this to like, I'm just going to ride the markets and, put my money into a mutual fund or something. There's a time and a place for that. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's, a lot of good things about it. But we didn't even compare to that because there's no comparison. To get 365% a year is amazing. It's very, very, very high returns. And so how does it all work? Now, how do you get involved in something like this? Well, there's a few ways you can get involved. The first is you need to learn the landscape, though. You need to learn how to get involved, but we're not going to overcomplicate things. We're just going to keep it simple. Really, 50% of getting into crypto involves understanding the exchanges and the banks and wire transfers and security and, KYC and two-factor authentication, all that stuff. So we'll teach you all the terminology, the jargon. We'll teach you about hard versus cold storage. This is stuff that you need to know going into it. That's easy to learn. The other half of it is going to be involved in DeFi and alpha. And we're going to cover mostly that today. So what is DeFi and alpha? We're going to look at that. Before we do that, though, we're going to look at another pillar that we don't really talk about much, but there's plenty of opportunity here that you could actually trade the crypto markets as well. If you want to be more active in your approach and you just want to put a trade on here and there, you can do that. And so you can earn that extra yield by being a little more active. There's an education series that we've developed. It's in the members area, everything from charting to prep to running, lists and watch lists and scanners and all that stuff. And then obviously entering the trade. So there's an education series. There's live trade alerts. We're producing currently, I think it's been about 8 to 11 trades a month is what I've been seeing. Somewhere in there is kind of a good range of trade alerts. So a good number of trades. Now, bear in mind, these are swing trades. So they're lasting anywhere from a couple days to a couple weeks. Okay. So live trade alerts, they come in as soon as we see a trade, we post that for our members to get involved in. We also hold biweekly trading workshops so that if you have questions or You want to learn more, we'll cover different topics and then we'll answer questions so that you can get even more education, because not everybody wants to just learn in an on-demand situation and then just feel like you're capped on your education. So we continue to learn and provide opportunity to do so. Best part is you don't have to have any experience, whether you've traded a day in your life or not. It doesn't matter. It's simple enough that you can learn how to get into the trades and do what we're doing. We do the same thing. So anyone can participate if you're a member of our group. This is managed by a portfolio manager. So we're not just having anybody who's not a professional manage this. All of the trade alerts are provided by a professional portfolio manager who does this for a living. And he manages a family office of pretty good sizable amount of capital, actually. So this is what he does for a living. So good person to follow. So it's like having their portfolio manager open the books to you and show you exactly what he's doing and find some really great opportunity. And frankly, he's a really smart guy. He's really, really sharp. We also have proven results and a proven track record. And so that's important to go into it knowing that there's a significant amount of results and track record there. So really what it boils down to for our participants is you just simply set your risk per trade and then you get into the trade. We provide all the details, stops, targets, everything. So we provide what's the entry price, what's the stop, targets 1, target 2, and then we track everything and we manage the trade. And once we get to target 1, we move stops to break even. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, that's perfectly okay. We'll teach you. It's not a big deal. It doesn't take much time at all. So you can see 149 trades. This is somewhat recent. It's been updated here somewhat recently. And you can see the number of trades here. If we go back to, January's track record, there's January. And yeah, we had a decent number of trades. What's that, 141 to 140? Yeah, so about 8 or 9 trades in that case. So that's pretty typical. As far as win rates, this is probably the most important factor. 73% win rate on 149 trades. It's pretty good, pretty solid. So you can get involved in these and feel good about what you're doing because it's consistent and it's steady. And that number doesn't really change a whole lot. I've been kind of tracking it for the last, 5-6 months as we've been doing this. And beyond that, obviously it started longer ago, but just for the last 5 or 6 months, I've been kind of keeping a closer eye on it. And really that number hasn't changed much from 74 to maybe 72. And really it's kind of held steady there. So it's good. It's good to have consistency above all in trading. That's probably the most important thing, because if you have a really good month and a really terrible month, well, what happens if you get in at the terrible month, right? And that's, we try to be very consistent. So that doesn't matter when you start trading with us, that you get the same results, right? So those are real trade results. We track every trade that we get into. And we believe that transparency is extremely important, especially when it comes to trading, right? Now, here's an example of a trade. You can see this is a daily chart, a 4-hour chart, and a 1-hour chart. So we do a 3-chart type of setup. And really, we're looking for opportunities. Market's going long, trend is up. We're, got a good opportunity pulling back in here. And, we can see that there's a good entry point coming through the break on this. And we're trading into these lows as a target 1, and we're trading into the highs for target 2. So there you go. And you can tell that the trade results are good. So just an example of a trade. There's plenty of them, but that's for those who want to be active. Now, what if you're not a trader and you have no desire to trade and you really don't want to get involved in that, but you want to find some good yield opportunities? Well, that's where we get to alpha and DeFi. So let's talk about that. So what is alpha? Anybody have any questions so far? I've been kind of cruising through this. I haven't had a whole lot of questions popping in, which is fine. And you're just taking it all in, no problem. Everybody all good so far? All good, all good. It's Monday, so, coming off the weekend and cool. Should be all good. All right. So what is alpha? Alpha is getting into investment opportunities before the herd. It's really the best investments. It's kind of the best way to put it. The potential to get above average returns, maybe because the knowledge or the community, or, maybe you get in before everybody else kind of thing. It's the right place, right time. Something that somebody else doesn't, without being illegal, of course. And then we get to DeFi. And DeFi is really, it's a whole separate sector of crypto. And so DeFi stands for decentralized finance. So when we talk about decentralized, that means it is not regulated. That means it is going to be high risk. That means we're going to treat it that way. And but what are the opportunities available? Well, you can trade. This is going to be more of the active approach, like we talked about. If you want to swing trade, maybe you want to buy and sell or spot trade or do leverage, or maybe you want to buy and hold. Maybe you want to follow retail indicators or use a bot or ICOs, that sort of thing. That's going to be more the active approach. And then we get into the DeFi side. This is going to be more passive income. This is where a lot of our participants get involved because there's really not a whole lot of knowledge you need. There's not a lot of skill you need. Everybody can do it. And there's not a whole lot of involvement. So very, very good. So when it comes to DeFi, there's a number of different opportunities: lending, staking, nodes as a service, DeFi as a service, crypto mining, profit sharing, yield farming. A lot of different opportunities there. Really where we get involved and where we focus our attention is on the opportunities that have very little involvement from our perspective. We don't have a lot that we need to do in order to participate. There's not a lot of activity there. And that's why we like them. That's why we want to focus on those, because we're busy doing other things and we don't want to have to do a whole lot. So then we get to the question, well, what is your number? So if we're looking at DeFi as an option to build passive income, what's your number? What would it take for you to quit your job and live comfortably? How much a month would you need to have coming in to hit all of your expenses and make sure you've got everything you need for you and your family? So how much do you need to retire is the next question. Some of us have no idea how much we need to retire. We just know we don't have enough. And that's fine. We'll figure out what that number is. And then the next question is, are the yields that you're earning enough for you to reach your goals? So let's take a look at that together. So in this example, we're going to look at a couple different scenarios, but we're just going to use the example of like everyday people here for an example. We're going to see what the power of compounding interest is and what the opportunities are and what the potential is. So let's say we have an average individual making roughly about $5,000 a month in order to cover their expenses. Now, maybe they make more than that, but their expenses, their bare bones, minimum cost of living to be comfortable is about $5,000 a month. And so let's assume that most of us could come up with 1 month's income to put into these type of projects, at least. Some might have more, some might have less, that's fine. But most of us could come up with 1 month's income to put into the projects. And so that puts us about 5,000, of course, with no future deposits. A lot of times when we talk about compounding interest, what is the number one factor when it comes to compounding interest? Well, you have to add money as you go. Otherwise, it doesn't compound as fast. So when we look at the traditional vehicles, the 401ks, the IRAs, whatever the case may be, the whole point of it is to add a portion of your check each month or each week so that you can continue to grow it by cash, and then the interest grows it even faster, right? That's the whole premise of it. Well, in this type of a realm, you don't have to do that. You can if you want, but you really don't have to, because the compounding is so fast that you don't really have to continue to put funds at risk. So let's assume here we put no additional money in. We put it in a project that earns about 3% a week, which again is modest. There's some that pay more, some that pay less. But about 3% per week, we reinvest 100% of it because we're looking to replace income as quickly as possible. And we're going to put a tax rate of 20%, just as a kind of middle of the road tax rate too. So based on this scenario, this is saying that at 3% per week, this average everyday person could replace their income in 19 months just by putting the money there and leaving it for about a year and a half. They would have 10 times their money, and they would have enough in yield to have 5,000 a month coming in off of that number. 18 months later, 19 months later. That is the assumption here. Pretty incredible to see. Now, what if you were to bump that to 2 times your expenses? That number goes down to 13 months. What if you put in 3 times? 10 months, and you get the idea. What if you don't have 5,000? What if you have half that? All right, well, then it's 24 months. Not so bad. So if you don't have all of that, you don't have to put it all in there. But this is just the example, right? So this is an example of replacing your income. Well, now let's use an example of, well, you want to retire someday too, right? So let's say the current age is 40 and the age at retirement. Let's say we want to retire by the time we're 50. Okay, so 10 years. Pretty lofty goal based on traditional finance. But let's say 10 years. And so monthly expenses, we're going to bump it about $1,000 a month, even though we've already considered inflation as a factor, but we're going to just keep inflation at about 8%, a little bit high right now. Let's bump it, let's bump it to 10 actually. It's really high in some areas. So we're going to say 10% just to be cautious. And we're going to say that once we retire, we're going to just put it into a traditional vehicle that's going to pay out reasonably well, nothing too crazy, We don't need to leave it in DeFi projects at that point. We're going to live on that money at that point. So we're going to put it in at 10% per year, just a decent number, nothing too high, nothing too low. And we're going to keep the tax rate at about 20%. So this is saying that based on these numbers, this individual would need about 3.1 million to retire comfortably and be able to make it to age 85. Now, they might make it beyond that, but that's the point. Want to get to 85, have enough money for about 35 years. That's a pretty good chunk. So about 3.1 million will do it. Well, the current individual's 40. They put 5,000 in. Now, bearing in mind, they've added nothing beyond this. They put 5,000 in and left it. Didn't touch it. Didn't add more. Didn't put 5% of the check in. Didn't put all their bonuses in, No additional funds needed. And 3% per week. This individual could retire at 44. So let's say they happen to have 2 times their monthly expenses. They put 5,000 into an investment strategy for retirement. They put the other 5,000 into replacing their income. And in 19 months, they've now replaced their income. They no longer have to work if they don't want to. And this money that they set there at the same time, now 2 years after the fact, after they've already replaced their income, 30 months later, they could retire. Now, this is just based on 3% per week. We have some projects that pay up to 22% a month, some that pay up to 5% a week average. So that's just 3%. If we bump that number to 5%, that goes down dramatically, quite a bit. So there's a ton of opportunity. So the question is, what is your number? We'll give you this calculator so that you can use this and see what your number is. Maybe your expenses are a little higher. Maybe it's 8,000, and maybe you don't want to put 5,000 in. Maybe you want to put 30,000 in. You can replace your income in 8 months. And if you need to make 8,000, you need more money. Now, bearing in mind, obviously, if you're retiring in 5 years or something, that number changes. So we'll factor that in here too. So let's just say 8,000. Okay. And let's say you put in 30,000 at 3% a week. Well, now you're retiring at age 43-ish, right? So 5 million. Not a bad number. Hey, I'd like to retire in 5 million. That'd be great. Sign me up. I'm good with that. So you can see the power, the potential. We'll get that to you so you can mess with those numbers yourself and just see, it doesn't matter. Like I say, if you've got $1,000, you got $100,000, and maybe you've got $1 million. I don't know. Everybody's situation is different. But the point is, it doesn't matter because it works so quickly that you can double your money, triple your money, pull your initial capital out, work on house money, and scale it even faster. So just a ton of opportunity. We'll teach you how to do that. So by now you've seen the numbers. You've heard about all these projects. You've heard about 22% and 3% and stuff that just sounds like fairy tale. Like we're living in fairy tale land. Well, you should be asking yourself, is it safe? Is it too good to be true? Is it hard? What if you've been burned? How can you learn? Can we show you? Are we actually using our own money, real money? That's a big factor. What about rug pulls and scams? We've seen them before. Some of us have been involved in them. It's terrible. You should be asking these questions. You should be skeptical. If you're not, then maybe you're a little too trusting. Most of our participants are skeptical of coming into this, and you should be, because it's completely different than anything we've ever heard about before. But I can tell you that it works. And I can also tell you that we got an entire team here to back you up. So what our team does is we find the opportunities. We do the research so that you don't have to. We do all the research. And when I say research, we do a lot of research. Most of the projects that we research turn out to be duds. We don't ever get involved in them. But some of the projects, that stand the test of time and go through our process, and they're great projects. But we do the research. We've built all the vetting protocols. We've determined what our criteria is in order for us to get into a project, and we can talk about that too. We put our own capital in first. This is the biggest thing, is knowing that the team has actually put money into these projects, and not small money, like real money. We teach you step by step how to get involved. We have workshops. We have coaches to help you as well. The workshops are key. We go through everything you need to know about the project, and we discuss everything so that you know exactly what you're getting into should you decide to get involved. So you should know that before getting in, obviously. And then we get our community in early. We leverage the team's alpha. We only work with the best companies. There's a corporate advantage to this. And so think of it this way. If we go to XYZ DeFi project and we say, we've got a team of investors and we want to get to know more about your company. Well, if you're just a one-off and you contact the owners or the directors of the company and you say, show me everything, show me all your books, show me what you're doing, I want to see everything. And I want to spend time with you and I want to ask you questions. They're probably not going to take your appointment. But if we've got an entire team of thousands of participants and investors that we bring to the table, they're obviously going to want to meet with us because we're just doing our due diligence to make sure that it's a legitimate opportunity for us and for our members. And so they respect that and they understand that we're doing a service and they're willing to meet with us. If they are willing to meet with us, then we'll meet with them and go over all the details of the project. If they're not willing to meet with us, we will not participate, because if they're not willing to meet with us, there's a problem. And that's an issue. So they need to be able to spend that time with us. We bring a lot to the table, and more importantly, we're in it together. So there's a huge advantage to that. Let's look at some more of our participants. Andrews, trading balance 8.8. Total ROI 3.4, so 3,400. And actually pulled some money out, 2,000 out. Total earned there is about 4,100. That's good. It's about 50. That's 4,000 versus the balance of 8. Plus pulled 2,000 out. So was that 4,000 earned on 10? Would have been up to 10 and did not pull the money out. Pretty solid. And then you've got Cheryl here. No commissions, not referring anybody. Just put some money there. Total balance 26, total earned 11,000 earned, 67% in 5 months. And I can tell you, I'm in these projects too, and I'm seeing these numbers too. So it's really an opportunity. Ashley, one of our, she's with our company actually. No trading experience whatsoever. Put the money in there. I mean, just insane. She's done very well and pulled some capital out, a good amount. So these are screenshots from the actual portfolios. This is not fake money. This is not sim. This is not shoulda, coulda, woulda. These are actual screenshots with actual portfolios. This is real money. These are real people doing this. and showing their screenshots of their accounts. So pretty big. There's another screenshot of one of the projects that we're in that pays out up to 22.5% per month. And you can see the payouts. Some of them are pending. Some of them are already been paid out. Here's some of the payouts already. So November. Oh, I don't know what. Yeah, anyway, you get the idea. You can see, yeah, here we go. Some of them are sent, some of them are pending. This has been updated too. I don't know how I ended up with some of this older info on this one for some reason. Anyway, so quick recap. So what have we talked about so far? We've talked about how to generate multiple streams of income. All you need to do is put some money into the project and you can replace your income using DeFi projects and compounding interest. Proven strategies that prove that these are strategies that our investors are using to quit their jobs, retire sooner, replace income. You know, we have investors, just because, you know, some of these examples show that it takes 19 months to replace your income. There's other investors that, you know, they're just looking to replace part of the income. You know, let's say they have a spouse who's working and, you know, is not the primary breadwinner, so to speak. And, you know, they don't have to put a ton of money in, but they want to replace, you know, the spouse's income. And you can do that. And we've actually had participants that have told us they had a spouse that was going to work and just miserable at their job and working tirelessly and really not making a whole lot. And so they put money into the projects and they were actually able to replace the spouse's income right away. And now that spouse doesn't have to work anymore and can focus on other things. And so it's absolutely possible. So how much fee and capital? We're going to talk about the fee and what it takes to get involved. As far as capital, depends on the project, but the projects range anywhere from as little as $100 to get started to some of them have a minimum. Our largest is $27.5 as a minimum. That's just one project. But we have one that's 100, one that's 500. So there's a number of opportunities that you can participate. You know, it doesn't all have to be big money. Big money is, you know, it's big to some and small to others. You get the idea. But, and then multiple examples of ROI and real performance and real money and how we can help you go through it step by step. We no longer have to rely on outdated financial models, but we can ramp up into new methods. 10 to 22% monthly, 3 to 5% weekly, 1% daily. So you have a choice to make. You know, at this point, one is to figure it all out on your own. I really don't think that's an option. The option is to keep doing what you're doing, which might be working great for you, and that's fine. But if it's not working for you, then there's a need for a change. And you would know that only you can answer that question. Is there a need for a change? If you've flatlined in your investment or worse, if you're losing money trading, if you're spending countless hours trading and not getting anywhere, that's even worse because you're just wasting time. But if you're in a position where you're not making the kind of money that you know you can, this is the opportunity. Going out, doing this on your own, that's not an option. I'm just going to tell you right now. We've seen too many people lose a lot of money in the industry. Don't do it. Don't try to do it on your own. If you're going to, if you don't do it with us, do it with somebody else reputable. It's fine. I don't know of anybody, so I can't give you any recommendations, but you don't want to do it on your own. Please, please, please don't do that. The other option is to continue doing what you're doing, or you can join up with us and you can do what we're doing and you can earn some really solid returns, and you can join an entire team of those who are here to support you and help you. So let's hear from some of our participants though, because I think it's important to hear from real people. So I'm going to share my sound here. There we go. So let's hear from some of our participants and they'll tell you exactly how they felt and what their experience was. So here we go.
Oh, I was very impressed. You have.
Oops, sorry about that.
Tons.
And let's try that again. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, I was very impressed. You have tons of really detailed information that gives you very much orientation to a space that is hard to understand, really.
Sure. Have you been happy with the returns so far in the projects and the companies that you've been investing in, as a result of us introducing them to you?
Oh, yeah, I'm very happy. I'll admit I was skeptical when I first saw them, so I had to do my own research, I suppose you could say.
Yeah.
But I did get involved in the projects, and I'm very happy that I did.
There you go. There's Rich. Let's see here. We got a couple more.
Crypto Street is so positive for me because of all the research you guys do and the team you guys have. I was a skeptic at the beginning, like anybody else would be, and putting their money into some new project. And I dipped my toe a little bit and tried it. And then I was really, really, really impressed with the returns that I was getting.
There you go, MJ. MJ is a trader, been with us a long time. All right, let's hear one more.
I would definitely recommend CSA to anyone who's interested in passive income. You're not going to regret it. I was scared and I was sitting on it for like a month before I decided to go in.
Sure.
And I'm glad I did, because now that I'm in, I see the money coming in.
There you go. There's a common thread among all of our participants that spoke out here, is that they were skeptical, and rightfully so, every right to be. And so the point is, if you're feeling that, it's totally justified, you should. But we can go over more details and talk about what's involved, how do you go about it, and really it comes down to, is it a fit for you or not? We meet with a lot of folks, and some, we just get to the point where it's like, hey, this sounds great, but it's just not for me. And that's totally cool. No hard feelings. No, we would rather find out whether this is going to work for you or not than just kind of bury our heads in the sand. Right. So there's an opportunity here to join up with us. So just to recap, what you get access to would be the Getting Started, which is kind of the education series, would be, education pillar 1 is learning the landscape and learning about crypto. The second is trading alerts. So if you want to actively trade with us, and there's the trading education there. Passive income, we're going to teach you about passive income, and we'll also teach you how to vet projects, and we'll teach you about the projects that we're actively participating in as well. Private wealth chat rooms, the vetting team, and access to the coaches. This is probably the most valuable out of anything, I think, is having access to a team that will go out and vet all these projects for you. Not to mention, if you have something that you stumble across that you think, hey, this looks like a decent opportunity, I'm going to send this into my alpha team and have them check it out. We'll do that. We'll actually go to bat and figure out if it's a good one or not. And I think there's a huge component to, if it's more important to know, yeah, it's good to find good projects, right? But it's also good to X out the projects that we're not going to participate in and say no to those projects. And I think that's a huge component to what we're doing, is knowing what not to get into. That's a big deal. We also host workshops occasionally. In the trading side, we host bi-weekly workshops, actually every 2 weeks. This is a little bit more involved. Custom resources and financial calculation. We have a lot of resources that we provide. We have an entire team. They eat, breathe, and live this stuff. They are obsessed with crypto, and so they've got all those resources for you. So that's a huge advantage. So we have a limited price. Obviously, we always like to give specials in these events, and so we've got this. It's a one-time fee, and it is a true one-time fee. There is no upsells. There's no, you need to do this, or oh, there's this other thing you got to buy. No, none of that. You pay for it and you have access to it for good. Okay, so again, it's a one-time fee. That gets you access to everything you see here. And then at that point, it's just a matter of getting into the projects and how much you want to participate with on each project. And for those of you that want to discuss more about the projects that we're involved in and the risk, I'm happy to visit with you. Me and my colleagues will visit with you and go over more detail and talk about what the projects are and what that looks like. And I can tell you that the time frame to get into these projects is roughly 2 weeks. So when we say you're building passive income in 2 weeks, that's very, very real. And that's about how long it takes to get into these projects. Maybe 3 weeks if you're slow. But that's very realistic. 2 to 3 weeks, and you could be on your way and involved in these projects. So 2 ways to get involved. One is you can book a call with me or my team, and we will visit with you and we'll go over everything. Could be one of the most valuable calls you ever have. And so I'm going to post that link in here once my computer cooperates. There it is. You want to go to you want to go to claim free, cryptostreet.com, learn.cryptostreet.com/claim free, or suppose this is exactly what you want, or maybe you've been to 3 of these events already and you think, I don't know. And then finally we do this one and you go, you know what? That's it. I'm in it. This is exactly what I want. Okay, I'm getting in. So there's the link. If you want to join and you know this is exactly what you want, there's the link. It's the Alpha Program 5995. You'll get access to the program $59.95. Those of you that want to book a call, that is perfectly fine. Whoops. Yeah, just go ahead and click the link, the claim free link. I'll post it in there again. Just click that link, fill out an application. It takes 2 minutes tops. And we just want to get to know just some basic background info. And then that's going to lead you to schedule a call with me or my team. And it'll give you access to our calendars. You book any time that works for you. And that's about it. So that is what is involved. So I think my opinion, point of view would be spend the time to at least visit with us so you know what this is and you can determine if it's a fit or not. It's been a really great opportunity for a lot of our participants. They've really gotten a lot out of this. I'm going to go back to the other one. They've really gotten a lot out of it. Everybody's had a, somewhat different experience to some degree, but ultimately, yeah, everybody's had a lot of opportunity there. So that's the scoop. If you have questions, feel free to ask away. I'm going to run a couple polls here. First and most importantly, if you are invited and you want to enter to win money, which I would think everybody would, fill out this poll and just put yes, and we'll enter you in for a grand prize drawing of $5,000, which is pretty solid, I must say. Even better to have us put the money in for you, right? So be sure to enter the drawing. I'll leave that open for a minute here so that you can throw your name in the hat. So good deal. While we're doing that, any questions? Anybody have any questions about anything? It doesn't even, anything crypto, anything about the projects, anything about what we're doing and how to get involved. I'll answer one question preemptively. A lot of times I get the question about what about, when crypto news happens, like we had the FTX debacle. What does that do to our returns, for instance? And luckily, in those situations, yeah, it affected our return to some degree for that week or for that month, but nothing to the point where we didn't still earn some yield. And so that was great. Still being able to, be able to have some exactly in the black swan events. We're still earning money in those situations, to be in bull markets or bear markets and all those sort of things. And to still have opportunities to generate yield and earn yield is great. And when I say hands off, I could tell you, I don't do anything. I really don't do anything. Besides go in and look and go, how much money did I make? That's about it. So yeah, Joe, happy to visit with you. Click that link if you can, and just fill it out so that way we can book you a time. And you can just click any time that works for you. Yeah. Absolutely. Any of investments affected by FTX? No, in this case, no, James. Yeah, it was. We weren't affected by that, thankfully. Some of our participants might have had some money in FTX, unfortunately, just happened to have money in there while it happened. It's kind of a freak situation. Nobody saw it coming. And oh yeah, the calculator link. Thank you, Dave. Yeah, I'll get that to you. I'm going to end the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Yeah, the FTX thing was very unfortunate. But that's why we talk about not leaving money in the exchanges. There's different things that we do to protect our funds for sure. And that's one of them. Don't leave the money in the exchange. No need to do that. So here we go. All right, portfolio calculator. Interesting. Let me do this real quick and get it ready for, this is not the right one. Bear with me. Let me find the link while we're at it. I'm going to run another poll. Just curious if, let's go back here. If you are wanting to visit with me or my team, just go ahead and put yes, I'm ready to book a call. If not, just put no, that's totally fine. Let me know where you're at. It's just good to get a feel of, how busy we're going to be. So, and then I'm going to find that link here. Let's see. Is it this one? Excellent. Hey, Joe. Yeah, we'll get with you so we can book a time. Absolutely. Okay, I think this is the one. Yep, here we go. Okay, I'm going to share, copy the link. And there it is. Now you all have access to it. So one thing is if if you want to edit it, you want to save a copy. So just go to file. I'll show you. Just go to file and then make a copy, and then you can save it on your own. And then you can edit everything. So yeah, check that out. Enjoy. I see some of you are jumping in there. So that's awesome. Good. Enjoy it. So that link is working. Cool. Perfect. What else? Any other questions? Nothing. Everybody's good. All good, all good. Everybody had a good Monday. Hopefully the markets were nice to you this morning, those of you who traded. I was able to catch a win on crude today. So that was nice. I don't get much time to trade, but I'll take what I can get. Grab my 1 or 2 trades and call it. Awesome. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, James has a great question. I'm going to go ahead and bring this one up because I think a lot of our participants feel the same way. So I think it's worth mentioning. So moving money from one exchange or to storage, and it gets pretty confusing, and it does. It really does, because there's some of the projects I was like, wait, what am I supposed to do? And how do I do this? And how much of this and how much of that? And what do I need? And what's this? You need what? You need a data fee, and then you need to have bandwidth and all this. There's a lot to it. So what I can say is this: when we designed Crypto Street and when we came out with this, we wanted it to be very hands-on, because we realized that for most of us, crypto is brand new. Like none of us know anything about crypto coming into this. A lot of us, I didn't. I've been a trader for 14 years, didn't do crypto until now. And so some of us just need some extra hand holding. And so the idea is we have an entire team that can support you through that. So if you need help, there is no limit. Reach out to us. We want to help you. Support was a huge component to this because we realized we're not just going to release some education and tell everybody, okay, go get them. That's not how it works. Sometimes you might have questions or need help. So yeah, we've got you covered there. We do have how-to videos on how to do everything. And so all the info is there at your fingertips. But if you need that additional help, we'll absolutely jump on a call with you and help you. So we don't want it to be, absolutely. We don't want it to be like this huge thing where you're just, left out there on your own. Definitely not. So cool. Good question. Yeah, thanks for asking that one. Yep. Correct. Yep. $59.95 is the cost. We don't have any fiduciary responsibility. We don't make anything on the back end. Some of these projects pay us a referral, and that's for the business, and we're not doing it for that. We could care less if they give us a referral or not. I mean, certainly we'll take it, but what we get paid and the way that we operate as a business is on the enrollment fee. And then everything else that you do that goes to you. Yeah, we don't get that. So yeah, any investment that you want to put in is totally up to you. But yeah, that's the cost there to get involved. So, yep. And that's it. There's nothing else beyond that. You don't pay us monthly or annually, or this is one time and you're one and done, in it to win it. And part of our community. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Rob. Thanks everybody for joining in. This was a good event. I enjoy when we get some, people getting involved and asking questions and stuff. It's always good. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm talking to myself, which frankly, sometimes I might be doing. No, it's good to have everybody in here. Thanks for joining in. SMS. So like a retirement type of account, James? Is that what you mean? Yeah, typically not. Yeah, typically not. I will never say never because you never know. But as far as to my knowledge, no, everything is cash. Everything is cash accounts. And yeah. And then all of your reporting to whether it be IRS or, CRA or any of that, depending on where you're at. Yeah, it's all self-reporting as well. And we have resources and all sorts of information on how to do that so that so you're not left in the dark wondering how do I do this? Yeah. Yeah, sounds great, Neon. Awesome. We'd be happy to have you at any point. We're not going anywhere. So you just look us up. We'll be here and we'll help you. No problem. Whether that's 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, we ain't going nowhere. So feel free to join anytime. Of course, the special's only good through Thursday. We'll probably have other specials, but no guarantees. Yeah, no, just reach out when you're ready and we'll make sure we get you a good deal. Yeah, we will send out the recording. We'll make sure everybody gets the recording. I've got it recorded. So absolutely. Well, cool. Well, thanks so much for joining in. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording here. I'll hang out for another couple minutes in case there's questions. But yeah, if you need anything, reach out. I'm going to post the links in here one more time. There's the spreadsheet if you didn't get it with the calculators. And then here is the links to join or book time. So there they are. If you're watching this on a replay and you're going, I would really love to have that link. Just either you can find it in the actually you won't find it in the text because it'll be posted online. Just reach out to my team. We'll get it to you. Just reach out. Or if you're watching on the replay and you want to be entered into the drawing, reach out to us. It's just support@cryptostreetacademy.com, or you can just go to our website and click support and we'll get you in. So cool. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great week, and we will catch you all later in the week as we set up these times to chat. So thanks so much, and cheers for now.